So if you guys will give me about 3 minutes of your time, we got three really big stories. So Stu Peters is breaking a bombshell. We're going to get into that about the romantic partner Lance Twiggs. Then we got a little story about Erica Kirk's parents. Then we got a story about Charlie Kirk's parents. So let's start with Charlie Kirk. So the first time Charlie Kirk's parents spoke up at this trial, and they are telling the judge that their wishes for, as the victim's parents, right, their wishes are that any evidence that's presented in this courtroom, in these preliminary hearings, they want it all made public for the world to see. And then right after that happened, magically Erica Kirk left the trial for the first time early today. Pretty disappointed, huh? I don't think handling Mr. and Mrs. Kirk is going the way that TPUSA thought it was going to go. I think this is a complete, absolute disaster and nightmare. Now, before I play this clip and break this story down from Stu Peters, let me show you this from my boy Script Keeper-elect over here. Actually, the girl whose video it is that he ripped, he didn't give her a credit, so I don't know who this girl is, but maybe if you guys know her, tag her down in the comments so everybody can swing over there and give her a follow and check this video out.
Bet you haven't heard this. Here is an old photo of Erica Kirk's parents, Lori and Kent France. And here is a younger photo of them with a lady named Lilith Aquino. Now, Lilith Aquino is married to a Michael Aquino, who is quite literally the most prolific Satanist in our military. He specializes in psychological operations, and he actually founded the first ever tax-exempt, government-recognized satanic institutions called the Temple of Set. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that Aquino's house was raided in 1987, where they quite literally found videos of him performing satanic, ritualistic blank blank on children. And never once has any charges been filed against him because he's a CIA operative. Yeah. Here's an older photo of Michael and Lilith, just to throw in there. And also, a lot of people have suspicion that he might be their father, but I don't know. Either way, I'll just go ahead and end it with this clip.
His wife, you are a lieutenant colonel with the United States Army. Correct. Now, and how does the Army feel about you being head of the Temple of Set?
The Army is not about my religion for the entire span of my Army career, which began in 1968. And there was a reasonable amount of curiosity, as there has been all the way along, that what exactly is this strange and unusual thing? And I've talked about it much the same way that I've talked here today on your show about it. And other than that, the Army has paid very little attention to it.
So you just go about your Army duties and it's fine.
So when we start hearing about who Erica Kirk's parents really were, who they were associated with, and why they're so intertwined with our military, it really didn't make sense. How do you get somebody at the age of 17 to run a child trafficking organization? You pretty much gift wrapped it and handed it to them on a bow. Well, that person would have to be one sick psychopath individual, probably because as a child they were abused and sexually tortured for extended periods of time. And then after you get to a point where you're like, hey, daughter, you need to keep your mouth shut. You're becoming a big young lady. Are we going to kill her? Or are we just going to hand her a child trafficking rescue organization so she can torture other children? I mean, what type of psychopath is this woman? And I'm just guessing. I'm just asking questions because everything stated in this video is allegedly. Nothing is a fact. I don't know shit about Erica Kirk, and I don't know if any shit in this video is actually true. But do your own research. Anyways, I digress from that psychopath. Let's talk about these psychopaths. So, Stu Peters, my homie, says in a death penalty political assassination, the live-in romantic partner who got a pre-shooting intent note, confession text, and instructions to stay silent, plus DNA on the rifle, towel, and screwdriver, had only 2 interviews over a 7-month period. Is Lance Twiggs a federal asset? Let's just run this back. In a death penalty political assassination, the live-in roommate, romantic partner Lance, who got a pre-shooting intent note, Tyler Robinson wrote Lance this letter that Tyler was planning to take this to his grave, but he decided to leave a note under his boyfriend's keyboard just in case, I guess. He also sent confessions texts. Tyler Robinson sent Lance Twiggs these confession texts after Tyler Robinson was already arrested. Okay. And then he also instructions on to stay silent. Lance, you better stay silent, buddy, which obviously that's probably why we haven't heard from Lance, because he's just honoring his boyfriend's pleading wishes while he rots in jail cell for the crime that Lance committed, or most likely committed anyways. Plus the DNA on the rifle. So the rifle, when they found the gun, right, it had Lance's DNA on it. This is Tyler Robinson's rifle. There was never any talk of Lance shooting Tyler's rifle or anything of the sort. So somehow this rifle that Tyler went all the way to his parents' house, grabbed the rifle, then went to UVU campus to take the shot. Somehow in between then, he must have met with Lance, because I think it was it like 12% of the DNA found on that rifle belonged to Lance. And then on the towel, right? Remember the towel? It was like 90% Lance, only 10% Tyler Robinson. So as Tyler's sweaty, he's covered in sweat, he's been laying down on this towel, he jumps up, grabs the rifle, he's touching the shit out of this thing, right? Covered in sweat, sprints into the woods, disassembles his rifle, he's probably kneeling on the towel, taking apart the rifle, or did he do that on the roof? Either way, I digress from that shit. You know what I'm saying? None of this shit's making sense. And then the screwdriver, guys, the screwdriver. Whose DNA was on the screwdriver? Oh boy, I don't know. Had only 2 interviews. So all of this, you have the same Converse. Lance was wearing, I'm not even wearing shoes. Lance was wearing Converse sneakers. And in his live streams, they're hanging up on his door. The exact same color Converse that allegedly Tyler Robinson was wearing. And you remember those photos? You remember those photos that they told us that this was Tyler Robinson? Have you seen what Tyler Robinson looked like? I mean, have you just looked at any of these photos? And like, yeah, that's Tyler Robinson. Trust me, bro. This is why we're over there carpet bombing Iran, in case you guys forgot. But anyways, I digress. I'll let them play this video, and you guys can put 2 and 2 together for yourself. And when you do, you realize that a 30-06 didn't get stopped by a little bit of flesh. Like, I could probably take my pellet gun, put a few extra PSI in it, and pull the trigger, and that sucker might blow through my neck, literally. Probably a high probability that it's going to happen. So somehow a 30-06 just got stopped by the neck of steel. I don't fucking know anymore. I give up. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Literally, let me know. I'm dying to.
Are you, you've mentioned him already. Are you familiar with an individual named Lance Twiggs?
Yes, I am.
And who is he in regards to this investigation?
He's the roommate of Tyler Robinson.
Was he interviewed as part of this investigation?
He was.
How many times?
2 times.
When was the first time?
The first time was the early morning hours of September 12th, and that occurred at St. George Police Department.
So we've heard of several people coming in and being spoken with at Washington County Sheriff's Office.
Correct.
Mr. Twiggs was spoken with at St. George PD.
Correct.
Do you know who was present for that interview?
It was FBI agents Larson and Agent Ling.
Are you aware of Mr. Twiggs' buccal swab was taken at that time?
I don't recall happening there. I believe it happened later. I'd have to, but it did occur. That was obtained from him.
Okay. But you're not sure if it happened on the 12th?
I don't recall if it was there or later at his residence, but
ultimately, a buccal swab was obtained from Mr. Twiggs?
yes, it was.
Do you know if his phone was taken from him?
It was.
When did that happen?
So it was during that interview with FBI at St. George Police Department. They conducted an interview of him, and then he provided his phone. He did it voluntarily also, provided it to those agents.
And that would have been on September 12th, 2025?
Correct.
You mentioned a second interview of Mr. Twiggs.
There was a second interview, yes.
When did that take place?
April 20th of this year.
Where was that?
Happened at the Utah County Attorney's Office.
Who was present at that second interview?
It was Mr. Twiggs with his attorney, Joel Cottrell. It was Lauren Hunt, Sam Peed with the U.S. Attorney's Office, Ryan McBride, Sergeant L. Schulz, well, now it's Lieutenant L. Schulz, and myself.
We've talked about 2 interviews of Mr. Twiggs, one on the morning of September 12th, 2025, second on April 20th, 2026. Are you aware if both of those interviews were recorded?
They were.
Have you reviewed those recordings?
I have.
Before Mr. Twiggs' interview on April 20th, 2026, well, first let me ask you this. Are you aware of what use immunity means?
Yes.
What does it mean?
It's a letter that the use of immunity is essentially giving the individual, during the limited time of their statement, they're given that immunity from statements that are made in regard to an incident. But it does not preclude them from prosecution, from evidence that would be known or found then or later outside of that interview. It just gives them that limited immunity during the type of the interview.
Okay, so for any statements made during the interview, they're given immunity for that, but they're not generally prohibited from being potentially prosecuted outside of that interview. Is that fair?
That's my understanding, yes.
Was Mr. Twiggs given use immunity?
Yes, he was.
By what offices?
The Utah County Attorney's Office, as well as the United States Attorney's Office.